GDC 2024 delivered some great talks from the biggest names in the industry, and over the years it's given us some keynotes that opened our eyes, expanded our brains, and changed the way we look at games forever. Step out of the matrix with us as we enjoy 5 talks from GDC's history that changed everything. Hello and welcome to ROG Global, where we celebrate PC gaming and sometimes take a second to consider how games are actually made. It takes talented people working in teams, making a lot of good decisions in a row. Do that and you end up with games like Doom 2016, Cuphead and Breath of the Wild. Fail to do that and, well, the annual Game Developer Conference is great at reminding us all what goes into games. The talks from Sven Vinke, head of Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian, legendary voice actor Troy Baker, and Super Mario World director Takashi Tetsuka at GDC 2024 were all great for leveling up our brains. But the archives go way back further than this year, and in them you'll find numerous gems that will remind you why not all of us are game developers. They're all available on the official GDC YouTube channel, so if you want to watch them in full, head over there now. Now, strap in and prepare to feel momentarily very clever and knowledgeable about how games are actually made. Doom 2016 is more than just a meaty shooter. It's where drop-tuned guitars go when they die. It's gent nirvana. It's host to one of the most memorable, striking, and vein-bulgingly empowering soundtracks that we have in our precious medium. And at GDC 2017, composer Mick Gordon told his audience how he created that soundtrack. Apparently, in his original brief, they didn't even want guitars.
No guitars. We hate guitars, we do not want guitars in our game, do not put guitars in.
Imagine that. Imagine blasting cacodemons without a distorted guitar snarling away in the background. It'd be like solving a puzzle in Zelda without that sound, or scoring a goal in Rocket League without a teenager swearing at you. Unthinkable. It's rare that we hear about game soundtrack composition in this much detail, and to hear about one of the best ever is a real treat, even if your Spotify isn't ordinarily full of spiky writing and death growls. Check it out.
But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
Breath of the Wild wasn't just a great Zelda game. It was a total departure from what previously made Zelda games. Well, those words just lost all meaning to me. Zelda games. Putting aside the fact that we didn't get to enjoy it directly here on PC, it was nonetheless a hugely influential moment back in 2017 that paved the way for games like Genshin Impact, Pal World, and open world design as a whole, which we very much felt the impact of here on PC. So to hear veterans like game director Hidemaru Fujibayashi, art director Satoru Takizawa, and technical director Takahiro Dota actually explain what it was like to push through such a bravely different title in a storied and established series like this is a real treat. It's particularly mind-blowing to hear the level of thought that went into tiny details like the way elements interact. Who knew that you could channel chain lightning by holding a sword in the air during a storm? And to see ingenious little tricks the creators throw into their presentation. I literally never would have thought of this. Back to Peggle for me.
Open your eyes.
Diablo. The birth of action RPGs, more or less. A wondrous collection of caverns, beasties, loot, and the ever-increasing stats that held a gaming generation's imagination in a vice-like grip through the mid-90s. And Blizzard co-founder David Brevik would be blushing if he was listening to this, because as lead programmer and senior designer on Diablo, he can take a lot of credit for its impact. In his 2016 GDC talk, Brevik breaks down how an idea he'd had in high school became a blockbuster franchise, how it was very nearly a turn-based game, and how the team managed such a moody, atmospheric lighting style with the whopping 256 colours available to the time via SVGA graphics. The whole thing steeped in the best kind of nostalgia, totally humbling, and really makes you want to go and play the original Diablo for about 400 hours. So, be warned. If you've got eyes and played Cuphead, it's probably struck you that this game's really good at graphics. And instead of cramming it with more ray tracing than a hall of mirrors in Cyberpunk, Studio MDHR instead deconstructs the component parts of 1930s animation and turns them into a toolkit for a spellbinding platform game. In this GDC 2017 talk, animator, designer, and concept artist Jake Clark talks you through that process, revealing the incredible attention to detail that goes into each of the game's bosses and the time-consuming process of drawing each animation frame as ink on paper and turning that into a digital game asset. What comes across in this talk, other than the obvious genius of everyone involved in this game, is what a labour of love it was to bring this bygone era's animation style into a modern game, and to pay homage to the staggeringly talented 20th century artists whose cartoons we still enjoy today. Quick question though, lads. Why did you make it so incredibly difficult? Cannot get past all these projectiles, it is just impossible, and why? Finally, let's nod our heads reverently to a chunky hour-long deep dive into level design that really does change the way you look at games. Dan Taylor from Square Enix Montreal worked on level design on the Deus Ex, Hitman, and Tomb Raider franchises, and over the course of an hour, he'll make you feel like an expert level designer. There's so much nuance to this discipline that most of us don't even think about it until we can't figure out where to go next in a game. We only notice level design when it fails us. When it's working properly, we feel free to navigate a huge space that seems to have multiple pathways leading off in different directions, and we have a clear idea of where we should be heading next on the critical path. And in this talk, we start to understand how incredibly clever the designers are who shape those experiences for us, how much smoke and mirrors is involved in it, and how interconnected good level design is with the game's other mechanics. And that's what GDC is all about really, getting that little bit of insight into the craft of making games that lets you enjoy playing them all the more. Right, that's enough learning for right now. I've got an irrepressible urge to go find that secret cow level in Diablo 1 and to shoot things to down-tuned metal. So let's leave this video here, but it's worth digging around in the GDC archives for more fascinating chats. Remember to like and subscribe to support Azus ROG. Thanks for watching this far, and we'll catch you in another one.